It's old time hockey, the way you're supposed to play. You throw a little lumber if a guy gets in your way. You play like Gordie Howe or Eddie fucking Shore. We can't all be Gretzky, Lemieux or Bobby Orrs. Hey!
This is the strange story of Duncan MacPherson. Duncan MacPherson was born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. He was a standout defenseman for the Saskatoon Blades of the Western Hockey League. He would put up 6 points in 5 games as a 16-year-old in the Western Hockey League. In 83-84, he would play in 45 WHL games, putting up 14 assists and 74 penalty minutes. This was enough to draw the attention of NHL scouts, and he was selected in the first round, 20th overall in the 1984 NHL entry draft by the New York Islanders. MacPherson would continue to develop in the WHL, playing for Saskatoon, and in the 84-85 season, he would play in 69 games and put up 35 points. The following season, he would play in 70 games, putting up 64 points, definitely developing into a nice young talent for the Islanders during their run in the 80s. During the 86-87 season, he would play for the Springfield Indians of the American Hockey League. He would play another full season in the AHL, and then split time between the AHL and IHL in 88-89. Although the NHL was not in the cards for MacPherson, as the Islanders had bought out his contract in 1989 and was released by the club due to often being injured. In the summer of 1989, MacPherson went to Europe, intending on taking the job as a coach for the semi-pro hockey team in Dundee, Scotland. MacPherson would travel to Central Europe alone in early August of 1989. The plan was to visit old friends and see the sights before going to Scotland. He was scheduled to arrive in Dundee on August 12th. When he did not show up, his family went to look for him. A car he had borrowed from a friend was discovered 6 weeks later in the parking lot of a ski resort at the foot of the Stubai glaciers in the Stubai Alps in Austria. His last known contact was with an employee of the ski resort on August 9th, who reported that he spoke with MacPherson and last saw him departing alone to perhaps squeeze in some final snowboarding and hiking before nightfall. Adding to the mystery of this disappearance was the fact that MacPherson claimed that he had been contacted by the CIA and that they were interested in recruiting him as a spy. The story was never confirmed. It wouldn't be until 14 years later, in 2003, after MacPherson's disappearance, that an employee of the Stubai Glacier Resort discovered a glove sticking out of the ice of the melting Schaufelferner Glacier, right in the middle of the ski run, where MacPherson's body had lain frozen for 13 years. Investigators had determined that he had fallen into a crevasse, and his cause of death was non-asphyctic suffocation. Another theory states that MacPherson was run over by a ski groomer, and that the resort covered it up. This theory does hold some credence, and in the book Cold a Long Time, the author would cite evidence that Duncan was found with all of his IDs on him except his driver's license, which would have been held at the resort as a deposit for his snowboard rental, and that he was still wearing the rental boots that came with his snowboard, and that the ski resort must have eventually thrown away his driver's license and his street shoes, and that this would raise the question that why didn't the ski resort personnel not search for Duncan when he failed to return his equipment at the end of the day, or pick up his clothing, driver's license, and street shoes. Also, a red ski glove, a pair of blue cross-country ski gloves, and a blue work glove were found with Duncan's body. He obviously didn't go snowboarding with 3 different pairs of gloves. And the fact that 3 of his limbs were amputated, with the sleeves of his rain jacket and sweatshirt shredded, as were his left sweatpants leg. The snowboard found with his body bore obvious marks of contact with a machine that is not suitable for excavating objects from ice. Austrian authorities and investigators quickly dismissed this notion, and no forensic autopsy was performed on the body. It is certain that Duncan met with an untimely death, but whether it was accidental or due to negligence from ski resort staff, the true cause of death will always be a mystery.
It's old time hockey, the way you're supposed to play. You throw